Hi everyone, it's me, MeganBob from Hard Choices. This is just a content note, not a content warning, just to let you know that whenever Zad starts talking about Artemis, it does get into some feelings that are bigger than we might normally tackle on the show, and they may cause some dysphoria, but it's handled in such a way that I do not think that it would. I just wanted to let you know that if you're not feeling your deep emotions right now, and that's totally fine, that you might want to put this one off until you're in a space where you are ready to go to some deep emotional places that this particular episode takes us. And that's all I wanted to say. I hope you enjoy the episode. Bye!
What is this? It seems that you're trying to create some sort of podcast. Smash fiction hard choices. You really think you can rank the fuckability of characters from a fictional universe? Oh, and it's not a fictional universe this time. It's a mythological one. An episode on the video game Hades, the Hubris. In order to do that, you'd have to navigate the constantly shifting chambers of the median, the zenith, and the nadir of fuckability, and that would be impossible for anyone, let alone you. Try as many times as you wish, boy. You will never find what lies at the true heart of horniness, no matter how much of my realm you smash along the way.
I'm your host, goddess of the underworld, Claire Mulkerin. Joining me, we have a feisty fury who will definitely fight you, but if you play your cards right, she might also date you, damn it. It's Annie Craton.
Hello, yes, the Hades and Persephone liker has logged on.
Also joining us is that unknowable genderqueer primordial deity of horny hot takes, Zadkiel.
Home is not where you live, but who you fuck when you come back.
And finally, a sassy skeleton who's just looking to get their bones smashed, MeganBob.
Oh, look at you, you poor, poor thing. You're horny. Though let me see if I can make it better.
This month, we're talking about a game that always puts Titan blood in my eternal spear, Hades. Yeah. The roguelike action video game with a dash of dating sim. There's so much to love about this game. It's got amazing gameplay, top-notch writing, but the best thing of all is that if it were any hornier, it would just be porn.
Somebody needs to release that mod.
Oh, yeah, I'd play the auto-gay version.
After a lot of soul-searching, we were able to narrow down this vast cast of very fuckable characters, especially if you're into Greek, as they say.
Yeah.
Down to just 21. I know that 21 sounds like a lot, but trust me, there's just so much. There's so much in this. Anywho, each of us has independently ranked these 21 characters from most fuckable to least fuckable. We are going to begin by revealing everyone's median character, the one they ranked number 11. We'll then work our way down to the darkest depths of our bottom 10s until we discover whatever vile creatures we have bound at the bottom of our respective lists, and then fight our way back up through everyone's top 10, and if we're lucky, we just might be able to reach the top of these lists and finally escape this podcast, once and for all. For the most part, we'll only be offering a brief reason for why we ranked each character the way we did, but up to 3 times during this run, each host can call upon the might of the gods to unleash a big feels interjection, expanding an entry into a slightly longer argument. But after we've held out for as long as we can before inevitably embarrassing ourselves once again, we'll find ourselves cooling off in the Underworld Lounge, reviewing the statistics of how this run turned out in a single master list, and perhaps even offering a bottle of nectar to one of our friends, in the hopes that they might unpack their choices for us a little bit more. But before we grab our proverbial Stygian blades and dive into the proverbial glowing pink window, as always, it's important to be reminded of the definition of fuckability, and that, as always, comes to us courtesy of MeganBob.
Fuckability is not about what they look like, although in this game they're all very hot. It's about what they fuck like. So assume that you are into them, they are into you. How good is the sex, and what is it like?
But first, let's talk about a few honorable mentions.
Our first honorable mention is Zeus. He's been mentioned.
Oh, that's all you're getting him.
Listen, I'm just gonna no-sell, listen, he is the most white bread.
Okay.
I can't even get mad about it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Part of me thought, I'll take us through the journey of this one real quick. Part of me thought, how can you not have Zeus? You're talking about Greek gods. Zeus is, the god who is, the horniest of the gods, who does the most fucking. But then you dig deeper and you're like, wait, this dude sucks? And maybe not in a fun way. And there's so many other interesting characters where it's less of a can of worms to talk about them.
And here's the thing, that is mythological Zeus. What we are dealing with here is Hades Zeus, who has some very nice gameplay benefits with his boons, and otherwise looks like a swole granddad. Not nothing. Yeah. Not a lot. Not nothing.
Yeah.
I think some people would be into him, but, we thought it would be weirdly funny to cut him and just talk about all the other cooler characters. Sorry. Yeah, Carry on.
Number 2, Poseidon. I did some research on him. It's what if your uncle sucked more? That's who Poseidon is. Does have blue hair that makes up for nothing. Nothing. Fuck this guy. Mythological Poseidon, I genuinely have more, powerful feelings about him. I mean, except for the Odyssey thing, but whatever.
Our next one is Charon. Charon's just out here trying to make a living. He's just trying to get by. He's just trying to have an okay time today. And
Aww.
Look, here's how this whole thing would play out. There it is. That's the whole thing.
I'm charmed, though.
Oh, I want to hang out with that guy, but out of all these hotties, he gets to sit this one out. He deserves a race. He deserves a break.
Next up, Tisiphone and Alecto, the other two Furies who are not Megara. Tisiphone, there's some weird stuff where she's kind of nonverbal, and it's not entirely clear if she can consent or whatever. And then Alecto, well, there's no good reason to leave Alecto off the list because she's great. She's strong lady, and she mean, and she mad, and she have teeth. And if she were on my list,
she mean. She's strong though.
She's so strong and mean. And
why
her
not on
teeth.
list?
She have teeth.
Teeth.
She would be very high up on the list, but she's a minor character in the game. We have Megara. There's so much. I love her a lot. She'd be very high on my list, but she's not a very important character.
Folks, it's all killer, no filler.
It's all killer, no filler. Yeah. So
the next honorable mention is the narrator, who is an extremely fuckable disembodied voice. He is, however, also disembodied. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, he's played by Logan Cunningham, who does the voices of every great character from a Supergiant game that has a voice, Hades and a lot of other people. And
the narrator from Bastion.
He's the narrator from Bastion, and he also narrates Transistor, and and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah,
it's pretty. He just doesn't have a body.
Yeah,
a voice will get you pretty far, but no way.
If him and Charon could combine,
Ooh.
Next up, we have Skelly, who is another minor character, a weird skeleton guy with a kind of, I guess, Brooklyn-y accent, sort of, who also calls you boyo.
Aww.
He's your training dummy. You test out your weapons on him, and he just wants you to beat him up. And he gets really excited when you beat him up, and then he reassembles every time he gets destroyed and is trash talking you. And I was saying if we put this character, it would be very high on Bob's list. A trash talking skeleton who just gets the shit beat out of him all the time. I'm
oh my god!
There are a lot.
Demands it, Bob.
He's the best sub ever. He's
exactly,
beat the shit out of me, baby. I'm yeah, I will.
If anybody feels bad about the people that have been left off as the honorable mentions, just imagine that Skelly and Alecto are off somewhere having a time.
Oh boy!
Wow.
Oh boy.
Skelly, though, he's only here for one thing. That's one reason I didn't fight harder for him. It's we know what the fuck with Skelly is like. We can all picture there's not going to be any disagreement. So.
And our last honorable mention is my good shade, aka Zagreus' good shade.
Aww.
The good shade, he's just a nice, young shade. They're just here to have a nice time, and also they prefer to sit in the stands and not form a weird, overly personal parasocial relationship with anybody, so...
And with that, we move on to the actual list of 21, and whether you are a full-fledged monster fucker or just a demigod sexual, there will certainly be something here that tickles your fancy.
Number 1, Zagreus, a sweet yet angsty boy who decides he wants to run away from home to escape his mean dad. Unfortunately for him, his dad is the god Hades and his home is the underworld. So he fails, but he keeps trying. Probably dozens of times before he succeeds, depending on how good at video games you are.
Number 2, Megara, one of the Fury Sisters, a whip-wielding demon babe with a raspy voice, tasked with preventing Zagreus from escaping the underworld. And since Zag and Meg are exes, when she kills you, it's not only business, it's personal.
Number 3, Thanatos, the god of death. Monotone and mysterious, but with hidden warmth and depth. If 90s curtain bangs aren't a deal breaker for you.
Number 4 is Athena, the goddess of wisdom, craftsmanship, and, most importantly, the divine dash. This honorable yet humorless Olympian often ends up playing straight man to the antics of her zanier relatives.
Number 5, Aphrodite, the pink-haired goddess of love and beauty. In a game full of people who are all flirty and naked, Aphrodite somehow finds a way to be even flirtier and more naked than the rest.
Number 6, Dionysus, the god of wine and parties, who has the body of a professional swimmer and the voice of a professional weed dealer.
Number 7, Ares, the god of war, a sword-wielding gentleman whose measured demeanor and flawless diction only slightly masks the fact that he's equal parts thirsty and bloodthirsty.
Number 8, Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. Unlike the other Olympians, this sweet and awkward forest hippie is unconcerned with being worshipped by mortals. She'd rather just protect the wilderness and hang out with Callisto, her longtime bear girlfriend.
Number 9, Hermes, the god of speed, a fun-loving, fast-talking trickster who is always down for a quickie.
Number 10, Demeter, once a goddess of cycles, seasons, and agriculture, but after the loss of her daughter, this Meemaw has become a callous avatar of unending winter. Does she still have a heart under all that pain? Do you want to help her find it?
Number 11, Achilles and Patroclus, a pair of warrior lovers who were separated in death. In their time apart, the once brash Achilles became wise and patient, and the once joyful Patroclus slipped into a deep depression. But once they are eventually reunited, we see that the pair is far better when they are together.
Number 12, Dusa, a severed Gorgon head who works as a maid in the House of Hades. Shy, nervous, and prone to schoolgirl crushes, but she eventually learns to believe in herself and finds that she really does love cleaning. You might even say that she's made for it.
Yeah! Number 13, Hypnos, the god of sleep, who greets all the recently departed to the House of Hades. Seemingly friendly, but low-key catty on the side, he is the living embodiment of sleepy bitch disease.
Number 14, Nyx, the goddess of night and Zagreus' adoptive mother. This big-titty goth goddess is always soft-spoken and caring, as long as you do exactly what she says. If you anger her, well, best not to anger her.
Number 15, Chaos, the ancient primordial deity who is the ancestor of all Greek gods and titans. Their vast power and alien mind makes it difficult for them to relate to the puny gods that surround them, but they are nonetheless curious about trying.
Number 16, Sisyphus and Boldy. Sentenced to push a rock up a hill for eternity, but now he's at the end of a long enemies to lovers arc with said rock, into which he carved a face and named Boldy. This whole experience has also really mellowed him out, turning him from a violent king to a total cinnamon roll, albeit an outrageously jacked cinnamon roll.
Number 17, Orpheus, the perpetually depressed and delightfully gullible court musician of the House of Hades. With a beautiful soprano voice, dark makeup, and nail polish, he truly was history's first emo musician.
Number 18, Eurydice, Orpheus's ex-lover, a tattooed tree lady who ended up stuck in the underworld after that dummy's infamously botched rescue attempt. Nowadays, she finds joy in the simple things, like singing and cooking, and despite all she's been through, she always keeps her sunny disposition.
Number 19, Theseus and Asterius. In life, they were enemies, a vain Greek hero and a ferocious minotaur. In death, they've become brothers in arms and champions of the Elysium Colosseum. From fighting to the death, to fighting like an old married couple.
Number 20, Persephone, a demigoddess of agriculture and the long-lost mother of Zagreus and wife of Hades, who escaped the underworld to live on the lam in an idyllic farm in the Greek countryside. Kind-hearted once she gets to know you, but even if she loves you, she will never stop calling you on all of your bullshit.
And number 21, Hades, god of the underworld, a callous, aloof tyrant whose only source of pleasure seems to be punishing those who defy him. But what's actually going on behind that perpetually furrowed brow? Is he the worst dad ever? The best daddy ever? Or just a well-meaning wife guy with poor communication skills?
All right, so now we are going to get started with everyone's number 11. MeganBob, who is your number 11?
Aphrodite. I know. I'm a big fan of her work. I think the problem is I'm very concerned she's going to put on capricious bitch in charge voice, and I'm just going to go, oh, I'll match your energy, and then I'll be doing my capricious bitch in charge voice. And so I'm afraid, yeah, you can't have two doms in the room and no sub. That's such a recipe for disaster. That's how the dungeon gets destroyed. But if we can find a sub third, I am all in. That would be a tremendous night.
I actually also put Aphrodite as number 11.
Yay.
Because she is the best vanilla heterosexual sex you can have on a Tuesday afternoon.
Ooh.
I think that the design choice of depicting her naked is maybe one of the least interesting decisions that could have been made here. But, it's written to be flirty. She feels safe. Sexy, definitely extremely proficient. It would always feel good every single time. But there's some more interesting options on the list, a lot more ups and downs. Given the list, Goddess of Love as median feels right to me.
Wow.
Annie, how about you? Who's your number 11?
Mine was actually something that I was very pleased about with how it turned out. My number 11 is Chaos. I mean, they're interesting, they're curious, they're unknowable. In the wrong circumstances, they would completely destroy you. In the right circumstances, they would completely destroy you. But, I don't know if I can handle being the focus of an ageless being unfamiliar with this thing called sex. I don't know if I can be their project. I don't know if I can be willing to teach them to love. And, afterwards, once they've decided that they've mastered it, they would probably, throw me out into the vast void ocean and, fair. But I don't know. I don't want to be their guinea pig.
All right, well, we'll see if anyone feels differently about that in the future, because someone might. My median is Sisyphus and Boldy. Look, Sisyphus seems very well adjusted. But there's this thing I've noticed about myself with this podcast where if someone seems a little too nice, if they got no dirt on them at all, I start to get a little suspicious. I think moving forward, I'm going to call this the Burt Valley based on our musicals episode.
Oh my God.
That being said, if I could push this aside, because I think it's all in my head, but no, I just can't, it's triggering something in me. Anyway, he's a great dude. He's the best. He's sweet. He's very strong. And at the end of the day, I would still love to be between this particular rock and a hard place, shall we say.
There's the first one.
You're a genius.
All right, now we're moving on into everyone's bottom 10, starting with our number 12. Annie, who's your number 12?
My number 12 was Ares. I love a man with a good gay haircut. I would not mind him, like, declaring war on my pussy, but just, like, mythologically speaking, I just don't think he has the best track record in being a dude that would listen to my boundaries. And he gives me the vibe that he would be a guy who's trying a little too hard to be cool, and that usually translates into so many insecurities.
Yep. Zad, who's your number 12?
My number 12 is actually Achilles and Patroclus. Patrocles.
Sure,
just gonna
whatever.
pronounce it different every time. Whatever. So I think in this situation, you are very much a third. If they're working together on you, just like incredible things that they can accomplish. It would be so beautiful to be in the middle of that, but could also tip over into being a little alienating, especially if like they got distracted fucking one another, and then you're left watching these two exceedingly hot men fucking in perfect harmony, which is incredible. And like my 12th favorite thing on the list.
All right. My number 12 is Hypnos. This was a really tough one for me to rank. I have seen a lot of Hypnos fan art or fan fiction. I've just generally gotten the sense when we like poked around on AO3 a little bit that there's a lot of people with a lot of feelings for Hypnos, and I kind of feel a lot of weird, strong, conflicting emotions towards this stupid little brat. There's something there. I kind of want to see if I can wipe that stupid smile off his face, is all I'm going to say. And we'll see what happens if he backtalks me one more time. MeganBob, who is your number 12?
Zagreus.
Interesting.
Whoa.
He's such a good bottom if you're a certain type of top. Like, if you want a bottom that's going to just push every boundary and try to figure out how to get to you, he's going to be everything you want. I prefer a little bit more reverence and awe, and I'm afraid he's just not going to give me that. So I'm like, Also, I give zero fucks about him topping. Cannot give a shit about it.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, no. He thinks he has topped once, and all he did was he gently brushed someone's buttocks, and I'm like, get the fuck out.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about awe later in regards to Zagreus. Let's move on to number 13. Annie, who's your number 13?
My 13 was Achilles and Patroclus. Honestly, for some very similar reasons to Zad. These are two men who are perfect for each other, and they are gorgeous, but I just feel like I don't know there's room for me in there. I think they would spend a lot of time staring lovingly into each other's eyes, and I don't think they would remember that I'm there half the time. It's like, good for them, but I can't be the third there.
Zad, who's your number 13?
My number 13 is Ares, because he's good and he knows it, and I hate it. Just like the way whenever he pops up on screen and he's just like, hi, hello, may I interest you in spinning blades? As a gameplay consideration, maybe less so, but yes, I guess. Fine. You win. Congratulations, another conquest, Lord Ares.
My number 13 is Thanatos. I'm gonna be real with you, Thanatos doesn't really do anything for me. I assume it's largely because he's a dude. I also think his voice acting is a little flat in not always a good way. I realize that objectively there's nothing wrong with him, and there is, like, so many people are into him, and the thing that does it for me, I don't know if it was Zad who mentioned this, is just when he shows up to assist you sometimes, and you just see a little slash appear over an enemy, and then just like all 9s appear over their head as they take like max damage or however much it deals. I'm like, oh dear, oh my. Like that does a little something, but yeah. Bob, who is your number 13?
Athena. This is purely, I don't care about the character particularly because I didn't, like, she's the straight man and boo. But smart enough to, like, figure you out, but also passionate. And that's, like, just purely on fundamentals that equals, like, there's not a bad fuck to be had here. This is a combination of traits that you want. It's just, I don't have a lot of passion about it, but I know it would be good. I just would never remember it. I would go, what? I know it was good. I don't remember the details, but I remember I liked it.
Moving on to number 14. Zad, who is your number 14?
My number 14 is Dionysus. I don't know that he puts a lot of his energy into fucking. I think he would be extremely interested in matching you up with somebody who would be a good fit for you, or somebody's getting you into a position where you are going to have an absolutely incredible time and have all of your fantasies fulfilled. I just don't think that he cares to do that himself. If he specifically was your fantasy, I think he would oblige. I think he would do well. I like that a great deal. That's spectacular. Great God. Love him. I just don't think that that's, in terms of fucking him, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I'll go next. My 14 is Persephone, and she's one of my big feels. Because of my prior knowledge of Greek mythology, Persephone is a character I was really excited about meeting. They kind of tease her for a long time in the game, and then when you finally get to her, it's like she seems really cool, and you're trying to learn more about her, and then eventually try to convince her to come back home and patch stuff up between her and Hades. Then you sort of reach a point in the game when you're playing it, as you do with all characters, and you have to play the game for a long while to reach this point, but you can eventually get to a part where there's no new kind of story content for anybody, and everyone just kind of, when you talk to them, resorts to their stock baseline phrases, but they never do anything new. And at this point, when her story arc was over, because her story was really interesting, and she was just chatting, I would just chat with her and she'd be like, "Hello, son, it's good to see you again. It's great to be down here in the underworld, but soon I have to go back up to Olympus." And then at this point, it suddenly realized, I don't think she has a personality, totally. She's a really interesting situation, and I have a lot of baggage that I bring of, I like the idea of Persephone in Greek myth, and she has really great outfits, and her, underworld outfit she gets at the end is really cool, but, in terms of just her personality, there's not quite enough there. Again, I think very strong on fundamentals, but I kind of think there's no there, nothing, no unique selling point or anything. Anyway, MeganBob, who is your number 14?
Eurydice. She's got that lounge singer energy. And it's fuck. I know. She's gonna do the thing. You're on the bed. She's on all fours. She does the slink over and then crawls into your lap. And I'm I'm gonna fucking die. The problem is, my beef here, she gets warmer and nicer to Zagreus the more that she gets to know him. No. If you're not throwing a tambourine at my head, I'm not interested. Goodbye.
All right. Annie, who is your number 14?
My number 14 was Aphrodite. Look, it would be incredible sex, but honestly, what I keep coming back to every time is that I don't care how much Hephaestus loves it. I don't want to be part of a cucking scenario. Hephaestus, shut the fuck up and get out of here. I'm about to fuck your wife. I don't want that.
All right, moving on to number 15. I will go first. My number 15 is Dionysus. This is one of the things where it's I get it. I see what you're doing. I'm not your demo. I'm the wrong audience. He's a cool party dude, super ripped, all that stuff. He also has a personality identical to many people I knew during college who I'm now no longer friends with. A lot of his charm is going to be lost on me specifically. I am sorry, Dionysus. MeganBob, who is your number 15?
Artemis. I know. She's my supportive lesbian GF. She's so encouraging and sweet. She's into the outdoors. And she's gonna, fuck me before we go to the farmer's market together. And I'm yay! But this is a theme in Hard Choices. I like my femmes on top. I don't think she'll top in a way I'm gonna be into, which is to say mean. I don't want my dom being oh, you're doing a good job. I'm you know what? I'm going to safe word right now. I hate this.
All right. Annie, who's your number 15?
My number 15 was Orpheus. Look, Hi, it's me. I'm the bad gay who doesn't get horny for David Bowie. I respect the craft. It does nothing for me sexually. And this is like sad, skinny, emo goth boy Bowie. It's just not my type. Like, all my blessings to whoever wants to stuff this sad baby like a Thanksgiving turkey, but I just can't do it myself.
Zad, who's your number 15?
My number 15 is Athena. Makes fantastic use of protection. I think like she would be like practiced and attentive, and honestly, just I don't know, like gives me a lot of kind of big sister energy. I think she'd be more fun to actually talk to than to fuck. Although she is always going to be the first boon that you get on your first escape. She's going to show up. She'll be there for you when you need her. I just don't think that she's necessarily the most interesting fuck on the list.
Moving on to number 16. MeganBob, who is your number 16?
Fuck, it's Hermes. I love Hermes so much, but I love mischief makers. I love them. But he is so high energy, and I'm like, I'm exhausted. The millennial in me is dying in the face of this fast talker. And
So are you saying that Hermes is a Zoomer?
Yay! Yes, good.
Hey kids, when you're listening to this podcast in 30 years and you wonder what that is, you can ask your grandparents. But I want to top him because then I can tie him down and gag him and get some goddamn peace and quiet.
All right, Annie, who is your number 16?
My number 16 was Dionysus. This is a party boy who would mostly spend the party talking about himself and how great he is, and he would make that your problem. This is a dude who insists on fucking in a room with a mirror so he can admire himself. This is Zap Brannigan with better booze. I mean, would you care if the booze is good enough? I don't know. I would.
All right, Zad, who's your number 16?
My number 16 is Chaos. They're dispassionately curious. So there's a lot of potential to both kind of have your fantasies be satisfied, but also to discover kind of new things that you couldn't have even imagined that you'd be into. But I think you would also have to be spending a lot of time instructing, which isn't super for me. All that said, if you've ever wondered what it was like to get a blowjob from somebody's sternum, I have excellent news.
I'm already having second thoughts about this, but my number 16 is Demeter. She was a really tough one for me to crack. She went in a lot of different parts of my list. It's one of those things where I look at her and I'm like, well, what do I have to offer you? Like, what? You're so much cooler than me. Like,
literally.
And I think that to a certain extent, you know, if you accept the premise though of like I am into them, they are into me, how good is the sex and what is it like? I think what I would offer to her is, she's had a hard life. We'll do the thing where you just lay down, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna give you a massage. We're gonna light some candles or whatever, and you know, she just chill, and I'll just take care of her. And I'm thinking I should have put her a little bit higher, but you know what? I'm committing. It's fine. It's here. Look, it's a very top-heavy list. We have not reached a no yet for me. Just in case that was not clear.
Yeah. Is anybody at a no yet?
Not yet.
Just quick vibe check.
I'm at a.
I've had a. I would regret this later, but not a no.
All right. Moving on to number 17. Annie, who's your number 17?
My 17 was Sisyphus and Boldy, and I know we've hit this bit before, but I'm just gonna. I wrote it down, so let me just put on my Groucho Marx glasses. All right, got my big novelty cigar. All right, tilt my head, waggle my eyebrows, just so. I've heard of being a cop between a rock and a hard place, but this is ridiculous. But no, this is like a big, soft bear man who is he's just a nice man. He's a nice young man, but he would insist on bringing Boldy with him because he didn't want to feel him left out. And if you've ever had to deal with having sex with like your cat in the room, this is worse.
Oh no!
It would be weird.
All All right. Zad, number 17. What you got?
My number 17 is Asterius, and unfortunately, Theseus is there too. Asterius deserves to be way higher on the list. We all know this, and I'm sure that there are versions in other media of Theseus that would be even remotely appealing that you could swap in. But if you took this Theseus out, put a new Theseus in, is it even the same ship? Who knows?
Well done.
It was worth
man.
it. It was worth it.
That's the hottest thing that's happened so far, legit.
Anyway, oh man, I just started thinking about how much I hate Theseus. Anyways, the thing that works best for me, or the way that this would work that would be best for me, is to just have like Theseus tied up and maybe gagged, so you just get to hear him like scream in frustration while you're getting plowed by the bull. Fuck that
right,
guy. Fuck Theseus.
Yeah.
All right. My number 17 is Athena. She's very serious, but not really in the fun step on me mommy way. She's more of just like kind of a stick in the mud. And I don't know if you can tell this about me, but I am a silly Billy at times, even in the bedroom. And I don't think she would necessarily appreciate that. And unlike Bob, I am not into the dynamic of being a prankster to a humorless partner in the bedroom. Speaking of Bob, Bob, who is your number 17?
Well, what I'm not into is Hypnos. I'll fuck him, but I don't need to fuck a chirpy twink. But if I have to fuck a chirpy twink, he's bottoming. Because I think I'm going to find him a hell of a lot less annoying with his mouth full.
All right. Moving on to number 18. Zad, who's your number 18?
My number 18 is the man himself, is Hades. There's a version of Hades that fucks, and it's just buried under this mountain of stress and paperwork. So I'm not super in for daddy types, and if you don't manage to be the right kind of careful with his feelings, but forceful with your expectations, he's just going to be snide at you to cover for his own feelings of inadequacy.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's not for me. This is something I think that I have that is perhaps unique on this panel. I don't like people being mean to me. It has inverted my list in a big way from what we're finding in some other folks.
All right. My number 18 is Ares. I do think that he does, of course, have the best dungeon that you have ever seen with a whole lot of toys. Probably all like black and red, leather and stuff. There probably will be heavy metal music blasting the entire time, and that's not great. He does have like just so much fedora energy, though. Like, there is this whole subplot where he's romantically pursuing Nyx, and it has like so much milady energy. All right, Bob, who's your number 18?
Nyx.
Bob.
Oh.
All right.
Megan Robert.
I know. She's a hot goth mom. I love all three of those words. I love hot, I love goth, I love moms. But I just feel like she's got some shit to work out from her dickhead husband, and I do not tread carefully enough in the bedroom to avoid the landmines there. And I feel like whenever it blows up, it's not going to be the fun kind of blows up. It's going to be the like, I have actual baggage blows up, and then I'm going to go, oh no. And she's going to be so sick of my shit. So I'm like, this is not that it would be a bad fuck. It's that I can't have a good fuck from her. I'm the wrong person. But I want what she has to offer. I simply am not equipped to get it.
All right. Annie, who's your number 18?
My number 18 was Hermes. Like, Hermes is good for a chip. There is literally no way for this man to slow down, like, ever. This is not someone who savors a goddamn thing. It might be fun, but it would be over way too fast. I mean, like, even if he like got multiple orgasms out of you, it's like, that's it. You're done. Goodbye. Get out of here.
All right. Moving on to number 19. My number 19 is Achilles and Patroclus, whatever, however you say it. Like everyone else said, I ship it. I don't need to be there. Those two are just like a little perpetual motion machine of just like creating infinite energy through fucking each other, and like I'm just gonna mess it up. I will unbalance the equation. Like, I think they would give you a very respectful and honorable fuck, like if they had to. But like, that's not necessarily what I want. We had a lot of talks about if we wanted to group people together or split them, like these two. Or, you know, Orpheus and Eurydice, we had versions where they were together of the list, or, you know, Theseus and Asterius. And I think this is one case where I understand why we put them together, but it dropped both of them a lot. They would probably both be in my top 10 if they were separate. So, All right, Bob, who is your number 19?
Dusa. I hate it. If we were voice casting this game and I had to audition, I am 1000% sure everyone would go, oh, you need to read for Dusa. That's fine. That's 1000% fine. But I don't want to fuck me at my sparkliest and most wide-eyed. I'm not saying that sex isn't top shelf. I'm just saying, like, it's only top shelf if you're into a certain thing. And that's not my thing. Like, I'm good. I have enough of me in my life. I don't need more of it.
All right, Annie, who's your number 19?
My number 19 was Athena. Like, you will never have to worry that Athena is going to give you anything. She's always practicing safe sex, but I just don't think she is capable of relaxing for a goddamn second.
Oof.
I can't put that much energy into trying to get someone to unclench for 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Like, you'd imagine she's very good at preventing getting penetrated by things. Like, that's her whole deal. So
oh, sure. But actually, like, oh, that's right. I need to, like, relax for this. Ooh, deal breaker.
All right. Zad, who is your number 19?
My number 19 is Orpheus, and this is one of my big feels. So I genuinely feel kind of bad for putting him this low on the list. Again, we had other versions of the list where he was put together with Eurydice. We ended up splitting the two of them out, which I think pulled both of them away from the middle for me. But basically, he is just way too much of a bummer to be around way too much of the time. And it's super unlikely you'll get him to feel better about himself so much as give him this little sandbar of pleasure out in the middle of this ocean of ennui. To get back to Orpheus and Eurydice together as a couple, here's just a relative ranking of the different sort of combinations that I could think of. I've ranked them worst to best. So first, the worst, I think, would be sex with Orpheus. The next would be just hanging out with Orpheus while working on separate projects. I feel like he would be very chatty and distracting. The next would be a threesome with Orpheus and Eurydice. Eurydice's there, brings it up a little bit. Orpheus is still there. The next one would actually be you and Eurydice fucking while Orpheus watches and makes just absolutely awestruck commentary. Because he's good at that. I like that for him. The next thing that I have on the list is Eurydice's cooking, followed by having sex with Eurydice. And then obviously the pinnacle of this whole situation in which you're bouncing between Orpheus and Eurydice is the song that Orpheus writes about how good you and Eurydice fucking was. Because you know that would be an absolute banger, and you would come out sounding like a god.
That's true. That's valid.
All right.
I'm going to jump in because my number 20 is Orpheus.
Yeah.
And this is a big feels for me. Because I'm like, this is the guy who fucks it up at the last minute and then is sad about it. Sad
Very accurate.
and butthurt about it.
He's so sad.
You goddamn child do not get to be sad and butthurt. You made a huge fucking mistake and you were sitting here being sad about it. Go fucking fix it, you piece of shit. Like, okay, like, I normally love the sad boy. I love like, this person is clearly gonna get cum in your eye. He's not gonna get cum in my eye. He would be lucky to get cum anywhere near my eye. This is how much of a fuck up he is. Oh.
What's worse is he's not even a wow boobs, he's an oh boobs.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And
As he's like slouching over his harp, like, boobs.
And do you wonder if maybe the last thing that Eurydice said to him before she got banished back to the netherworld and Orpheus failed his quest, maybe the last thing Eurydice said was, oh, hey, look at this.
Oh, God. Oh,
no.
Fuck. I hope not. Then I would have to feel slightly bad for Orpheus, and I'm never going to do that.
It's so baffling. Like, in the original myth, there are nymphs that are so thirsty for Orpheus's dick that they murder him when he's too hung up on Eurydice to actually do anything else. And this is the version that we get in this game, and that is fascinating design.
Well, not everything can be a home run, I guess.
All right. Annie, who's your number 20?
My number 20 was Hypnos. Like, this little man has sleepy bitch disease, and when he's actually awake, he talks at such a high decibel that I am terrified to think about what he sounds like when he comes. I don't need that tinnitus.
Yeah, my 20 is also Hypnos. He's self-absorbed and lazy. The quality of this encounter hinges entirely on precisely one thing. Can you rail him thoroughly enough that he shuts the fuck up for a goddamn second?
Thank you.
If you can.
I consider that a challenge. I think that sounds like a fun time.
Oh, that would be immensely satisfying. Do not underestimate his ability to yak through anything.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
So, 20 he goes.
I'll go next. My number 20 is Hades. So he projects this aura of this cold, confident dominance. But, as you get to know him better, you realize that he's more, unknowable, less because of, this intentional aloofness, and more just that he just has terrible communication skills. He just cannot connect to people. And so he will absolutely not properly communicate his needs, and then you will do something he doesn't like, and then he'll get all pouty about it, and still won't tell you what you did wrong. So no, I'm sorry, Hades. All right, so now we've reached the bottom of the list. Everyone's number 21. Bob, who is your number 21?
Dionysus. Fuck right off. He is a frat bro. He is a drunk frat bro. Imagine the guy who shortens your name in a way you hate and then cajoles you throughout. Hey, babe, I thought we were going to have a good time here, babe. Meg, babe, why do you look so mad, babe? Because your dick is half hard and you spilled wine on the sheets, you piece of shit. Oh. Now, look, whenever we do the mythology one, it's going to look very different. This motherfucker is not fit to lick my shoe, and I would love it if a lot of people on this list licked my shoes.
All right. Annie, who is your number 21?
My number 21 was Demeter. It's a sad old woman in the winter of her discontent, and I can do nothing for her.
Yeah. Zad, who is your number 21?
Also Demeter. Again, she's down here entirely because I have no strong feelings about her. She has an icy and aloof exterior. I have no interest in cracking it. We have a great working relationship. I will take my crystal lasers and I will go.
Oh man, now I definitely should have put her higher. Now I'm really regretting it. My number 21 is Hermes. Super speed definitely has its uses in the bedroom, but beyond that, I really don't feel anything for him. He's nice, pretty annoying, not enough to where the annoyingness gets hot, like Orpheus or Hypnos in a weird way. I understand that there are many people who are into him, but just nah, he's kind of a nothing for me. All right, so I ran out of funny things that I wrote, so we are going to go now to everyone's top 10 with no more fun jokes or puns. I should have saved them for later in the episode. Remember that thing I said about Greek? It was a joke about anal. Do that one again here.
Flawless.
All right, let's get started with everybody's number 10. Annie, who is your number 10?
My number 10 was Hades, and I know that we're looking specifically at these interpretations, but as someone who was like a really big Hades and Persephone like fan when I was going through my Greek mythology phase as a little kid, he's mythology's biggest wife guy. Yes, in a heartbeat. I could be the wife he guys for. Like, this guy gets drunk and gets onto Reddit and tells randos how much he wishes his wife when she's with some friends for the weekend. This man loves his wife, and I want to be the focal point of that kind of attention. But I can't because he is the most married you can be to his wife. And also there are all the, like, interpersonal issues this version of Hades has to work out. But, like, he is a wife guy. Yes, please. He's strong, he big, he wife.
All right. Zadkiel, who is your number 10?
My number 10 are Sisyphus and Boldy. So I think Sisyphus is one of the most well-adjusted people in the game, which is a very funny thing to say, given his whole relationship with Boldy, a rock that he has carved a face into. The fuck itself would be pretty comfy. I think like there'd be fun, you guys would be laughing, and it would just... I understand Annie's point about him wanting the rock to be there. However, I'm a performer at heart, is the thing that I want to be in the world. And I think that showing off how good I'm fucking Sisyphus for the rock is something that I like.
He does have that big smiling face. I'll give you that.
Like you got that, like, it is the rock actually sentient? Probably not.
Dubious.
Will I engage with that fantasy in order to enhance the experience for both myself and for Sisyphus? I absolutely will. The man's a teddy bear.
This is like making me think about Wilson and Castaway a lot.
It's a very similar
it's
dynamic.
That vibe.
Yeah.
It's
that vibe.
It is the exact vibe.
Yeah.
Wilson, imagine if Wilson was like 4 times the size of Tom Hanks.
Imagine if Wilson lit the boat on fire. I think is maybe a better representation, because I mean, like, accidentally.
Yeah, because like the boulder is what is part of his eternal punishment. He just
The boulder's the thing that rolls back down the hill every single rep.
Yeah.
Which is the difference between Wilson and Boldy.
Wilson sinks the raft every time. Every single day, Wilson sinks the raft. And Tom Hanks has to watch Wilson sink the raft. And he's just like, you.
Alrighty.
This is a tremendous redoing of Castaway.
And then gives you gifts every time that you come by.
Yeah.
Aww.
We have to move on. This wasn't even a big feels. We have to move on.
Thank you.
All right. My number 10 is Orpheus. So a while back, I took a personality test, like a Hades personality test. And I got Orpheus, and I read the description, and it just read me to filth. Like, I felt the same way. I took a Steven Universe one time, and I got Peridot, and it explained the personality, and I'm like, fuck, oh my god, I've never been seen so clearly. So,
I need to take that test.
It says basically, the Cliff Notes version, you let pain consume you so much that it affects your everyday life. You seek outlets through pain, usually through creativity, but sometimes it feels ultimately hopeless. It's not easy for you to hide your emotions from other people, but people will always be there to help you when you need it. Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, no, this is like, this was a very good personality test. So despite how annoying he is, I feel a weird kinship with Orpheus. And I get it. And I am also a whiny baby a lot of the time. And also, like, you know how fucking good he is at making music? You know how good his songs are? This ends up being weirdly similar to the Charlie Kaufman fuck from our Cages episode, where it's like, I like your art so much that I just want to fuck you to be close to you because you're so fucking cool at making art, and maybe you could teach me a little bit about making art. And also, not to brag, I'm pretty good at sex. I think he might make a song about it. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, that bloated more than I thought it was going to. Bob, who is your number 10?
Demeter. Ooh, she's so cold. She's so tired.
And
she's so
old.
bitter. She is full of mommy dom energy. Now, it's very tired, but nonetheless, I want to do whatever she asks. I don't want her to be in my life. I do want her to be in my bed. My only sadness is she's not going to be passionate about it or enjoy anything I do. Oh, well, dummy, mommy.
Yep. All right, moving on to number 9. Zadkiel, who is your number 9?
My number 9 is Nyx. Mother. Important distinction. Has a lot of the same appeal as Aphrodite, but also, has a lot more personality, a lot more particular personality. I think she feels more like she wants something specific from you and will get it out of you. I think that she has actually gotten through the mountains of stress and paperwork to get to the Hades who fucks. And that's why the relationship works.
My number 9 is Aphrodite. So I think she's my number 9, and I think I have her the highest of everybody. I just was looking at putting her lower, and I'm like, no, she's the goddess of love. Like, textually, objectively, she has to be very good at fucking. Like, I don't... This is the lowest that I could put her, and, like, respect the canon reality of the game, I feel like. I think that the reason that she doesn't do it for me is there is something about her that's a little too obvious. I think this is one of the reasons that I felt weirdly less into Arya T'Loak from Mass Effect than I was thinking. It's like, if all somebody does is talk about how good they are at fucking, like, how good are they really, And if that's their entire personality, like chill out a little bit. So, Bob, who is your number 9?
My number 9 is Megara. It's like, people who are spiky on the outside are the goddamn most delicious thing on the inside. It is just pure yum because it's all that passion. It's just softened just enough so you can enjoy it. But she's also a fury. So that she's got her own full set of props. Like, Ares may have a dungeon. She definitely travels with all of her floggers. And I'm like, yeah.
All right. Annie, who's your number 9?
My number 9 was Artemis. Like, I would say that Artemis is the most sapphic person I can think of here, but she is from a game that is about the mythology with the literal origins of the word sapphic. Like, it'll take you a while to warm up to her, but when she trusts you, she's pretty much yours forever. And she is awkward, straightforward, intensely passionate. Like, I hunger to hunt the huntress herself.
Moving on to number 8, I will get things started. My number 8 is Dusa. She's a sweet little baby. She's just great and a very warm, wonderful person. I just want to pinch her little cheeks. It's like a bit less sexual than I would, of feelings than I would say, and just a little bit more familiar. But like, she's so charming and she's so nice, and also weirdly similar to my feelings about Demeter. It's like, you work hard. Here, let me massage your little snakes, and like, you can chill out. Like, you need a rest. And also, if no one else makes this joke, I will. I bet she gives great head. Okay, moving on.
Yay! But no, you massage all the little snakes, and like all the little snakes are like laid out flat like noodles, and they're all just like.
It would be weird if like the snakes are looking at me, like as she's like going down. I don't know. Anyway.
It would be weird also if the snakes like looked away.
Yeah, I think that would be worse.
Like the snakes were super aware, right, and were like,
if they're like they're like an employee in like a gas station when you're like entering your PIN at like they like look just that like courtesy thing. Like I think. All right, Bob, who's your number 8?
Persephone. She's the one that got away. Like. How can you not want to fuck the one who is going to leave you? The sheets rumpled, the pillow still smelling of a springtime garden. That away, now you have a slightly tragic past that you can look back on. And that away, every time spring rolls around, you stand in the garden and go, that one time that I fucked real good though.
All right, Annie, who is your number 8?
My number 8 was also Dusa. Just listen. Tongues. She is a head full of tongues, and she is so eager to please. The problem is that I would feel really bad because I have literally no way to reciprocate. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess we do a lot of French kissing. I don't know. I can't. It's just a head. Dusa, I love you. I don't know if I can love you, though.
Look, there's weird magic and whatever. You can work something out. I'm sure you can.
I would love to work something out, but I just...
Yeah.
Do so.
Yeah. Zad, who is your number 8?
My number 8 is Thanatos. I think that he gives the impression of a deliberate lover, and he's very nice. Again, this is, I don't like people being mean to me. I do like people being nice to me. Go figure. So
hey,
I think
weirdo.
he will take his... I am
you and your healthy attitude about things.
I am a strange creature for this show. Anyways, I think Thanatos will take his time. Again, I think he does have that power move. He can just drop those 4/9s when he's prepped up for it, and afterwards you just lie in bed and think your own thoughts, and he's thinking his thoughts, and maybe you chat a bit, talking low in the dark and warmth. It's just nice.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to number 7. Bob, who is your number 7?
Hades. His personality, though. It's garbage. His personality is trash. It is terrible. How good does he gotta fuck for Persephone to have put up with this dude?
That's true.
What kind of magic fingers, dick, and tongue does this guy have that she's like, yeah, he's kind of great when you get used to him? All signs point to him being a killer lay. Even if you wish you never had to deal with him, god damn, he has got to be phenomenal.
That's compelling. All right, Annie, who's your number 7?
My number 7 was Nyx. Ah, Mother Night, mother of my heart, take me into your darkness and leave me nestled in your velvet folds. Nyx is for dark nighttime pleasures, and let's be real, she knows everything of what goes on under cover of darkness, and you combine that with that unyielding capacity for love for her kid, for I guess her other sons as well. I just I'm swooning. I don't usually go in for moms, but this is damn, this game makes a compelling argument.
Again, she's not mommy. She's mother.
Yeah.
Every mother is someone's mommy. So.
Well, no, it's mother but sexy, right? It is that mommy energy, but there's something that is more stern there.
Yeah.
I see. Is she a mistress? I mean, maybe. I don't know. No, there's someone else who's mistress on this. We know. We'll talk. I'll talk about her in a bit. Zad, who is your number 7?
My number 7 is, as I'm reading my notes here, maybe should have put him somewhere else, but number 7 is Zagreus. He might not have it in the sack at first. God knows it took me several dozen times just to get past Tartarus, but I think he's got the charisma to convince you to give him a try, and then he's got this enthusiasm and tenacity, and we'll just keep trying, and we'll keep improving, try different tacks, put things together in different ways, and we'll eventually, I think, be successful and just keep at it until he is actually a good level, until he is actually worth the 7th spot, as opposed to, maybe 12 would have been better for him.
How dare you? My number 7 is Eurydice. Look, she's warm, she's artistic, she's smart, she's sassy. She cooks. There's this quote where when you come by, she says, "There's one rule in my place, nobody leaves here empty-handed. You got that?" And then she cooks for you and stuff, and she wants to take care of you, and she got her nice little place. You can lie on her chest afterwards, and she'll sing as she brushes your hair. If I had a hard day and I'm lying in bed, Eurydice is my go-to you up. That's all I'm saying.
Aww.
All right. Moving on to number 6. Annie, who is your number 6?
My number 6 is Theseus and Asterius, and like any good monster fucker, here's my big feels. Look, we've talked about this a little bit. Look, here's the thing. Asterius, a perfect 10 out of 10. Giant monster man, soft-spoken, thoughtful, devoted, wonderful hair, him big. but he's inexorably a package deal with Theseus, and Theseus is the dirt worst. Like, any sexual experience with Asterius would be brief and unfulfilling, much like his mini-boss fight, because he would spend most of his few words talking about Theseus. Asterius does not have the capacity to love multiple partners equally. You will always be number 2 in his big cow eyes. And his number 1 is a showboating, loud, obnoxious prick who can't do a goddamn thing by himself, will constantly brag about his exploits, and will call up other gods for sex help in the middle of whatever activity all 3 of you are involved in. And afterwards, he will 100% spin the sexual narrative so that he was the best lover you've ever had, even when you've clearly outpaced him. He is jealous and petty, and while he is also beefy and stupid, he does not even have the decency to complete the himbo trifecta and be kind on top of it. But Asterius loves a pissy little bitch.
Yeah.
You can't separate the two, and I wish you could. Him big.
Yeah. Zad, who is your number 6?
My number 6 is Dusa. I think that there's a lot of ramp up with Dusa. I think she needs to be comfortable before anything can even happen, but I also think that Dusa has ideas. She might not have the courage to ask for them directly, but you might have to corner her and tell her that if she maybe journaled about her desires and then was a little careless with where that journal got left, who's to say?
That's adorable.
But like once you've like broken through that initial excitement and you are in something that is a little bit more serious, a little bit more like open, there's this incredible scene where if you, as Zagreus in the game, try to start a romantic relationship with her, she comes back the next time that you're through and says, actually, I don't want that. And so you get somebody who has the courage to stand up for the things that she actually wants out of the relationship, and it's so good. And then you get to rub her little snakes and have her spread out. And you know where you get to do it? In the fucking rafters of the castle, because that's where she hangs out. Aww. And you get to be up there with her. She's so good.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'll go next. My number 6 is Artemis, and it's one of my big feels. Just baseline, I really like the vibe of Artemis in this game, where she's like kind of awkward and weird at first, but then really nice once you get to know her, and it has that vibe of like either a coworker or a relative who, when you're in a group with like a whole lot of people in like this, you know, big group dinner or whatever, or like party, she's the one who you can like make eye contact with when someone is like just being a total blowhard. Like, can you believe these guys? Like, and then you kind of chuckle from across the room. Like that like coworker vibe of, oh, that one person who gets me. And also, just to bring in some extra textual stuff, there is a really wonderful Greek myth about someone named Cyproides, is I believe how it's pronounced, a Cretan hero, and he discovered Artemis and her fellow huntresses bathing. And there's this rule that if any man ever sees them naked, then she has to kill him. But she didn't want to kill this guy, so instead she said, hey, do you want to be a girl? And he was like, okay. So she magically transformed him into a girl, and she joined his little like group of followers. So patron deity of magical gender confirmation surgery. Why, yes, please. Oh no, I did accidentally stumble upon and see you naked. Oh dear. Oh no, I have messed up. Oh, there's only one thing you can do with me now, Artemis. Yes, I will join your commune of quote unquote virgins, this large group of women who all live in the forest together.
Oh no, don't throw me in the briar patch.
Yes, indeed. All right. MeganBob, who is your number 6?
Sisyphus and Baldy. The goddamn determination. He's so sweet, too. I'm just saying, if you point him at a problem, you're gonna keep at it. Baby, I'm a problem.
All right, moving on to number 5. Zad, who is your number 5?
My number 5 is Megara. Meg cares so fucking much. She also has clear eyes about kind of like where she is and what she can commit to at any given time. Will she demolish you? Yes, absolutely, if she's got the energy for it. Does she sometimes need you to just like go and bury your head in her crotch, take her hands, put it on the back of your head where they belong, and then just like not get up until she's feeling better? Yes, also needs that. Should you occasionally just leave her the fuck alone to figure it out for herself? Yes. And if you let her recharge, she'll come back better than ever. Meg is so good.
Yeah. My number 5 is Theseus and Asterius. Look. We talked about people who will benefit or, suffer from being paired together. I love Asterius by himself. Obviously, he would do very good. He big and strong, and he nice, and he a bull boy, and that's great. And Theseus is the dirt worst. And yet, for some reason, when combined together, a strange alchemy occurs, and their appeal multiplies in an unexpected way. The little seasoning of Theseus in the mix just enhances the flavor of the Asterius in unexpected ways. They're so competitive. Theseus is so jealous, and he has such a fragile ego. He gets mad in such funny ways, and he needs to prove that he is better than you. And you can just push all his little buttons and just watch him just like crumble in frustration. And then afterwards, everybody cuddles together and you're like, oh, it's great. Oh, and then they kiss each other and then you're like, okay, bye guys. And then they're just all, it's great. It's great. All right.
Gotta get out of that one before Theseus opens his goddamn mouth.
Yes.
Oh, God.
All right. Bob, who is your number 5?
Chaos. I would normally have a take on the number of mouths because there are a lot of mouths.
There are a lot of mouths.
There's many mouths.
But the problem is, as I think other people have mentioned, how could I possibly know what this fuck would be like? Think back to your best fluke sexual situation, the one that doesn't make any sense on paper, the one that you couldn't have possibly anticipated. It's that. If chaos desires you, I do not think you will know what hit you. Sometimes that is the best thing imaginable, and if chaos is into you, then I assume that it's going to be pretty good. I just cannot know in what way.
Annie, who is your number 5?
My number 5 was Persephone. I feel like Nyx and Persephone are like different flavors of a very similar sexual experience. The experienced woman who's been through some shit and doesn't need to play games anymore. She is utterly straightforward about what she wants, but whereas Nyx is an open field under a blanket of stars, Persephone is a breath of flowers, a flavor full and rich and sweet, a secret hidden corner of an orchard in the middle of an early summer day. You can taste nectar on her lips, and she is an expert at the taste of your nectar.
Oh,
nah.
Oh my. Whew. Gotta dab myself off there. Moving on to number 4. I will go first. My number 4 is Nyx. Look. Big titty goth mommy. I'm sorry.
There it is.
She's quiet. And this is one, look, I'm just giving myself a treat. I don't need to justify this, but she's quiet, whispery, a little mysterious and unknowable, but also unfathomably powerful. And when she gets mad, that voice, she will fuck you up. But she is also sweet and loving and good at her core. It's everything. She has everything. I will do whatever you wish. Whatever you wish, Gotham Mommy. All right. Bob, who's your number 4?
Theseus and Asterius. Because they're a bickering couple. Goddamn. Look, I love it when there's a hot-headed one and the steady one because you get the best of everything. Most crucially, they're competitive. Oh my god. Yes. Let me be the one who decides who the winner is. It'll only take me 3 4 months to decide who has won. Don't worry, I'm keeping scores. Yum, yum. He's a bull boy. He's very hot. And also, I don't mind shouty, like, asshole types. They're fun and annoying.
All right, Annie, who's your number 4?
My number 4 was Eurydice. She's such a complex woman. She's been through a lot. She's had lovers, creative fulfillment. She's had a wonderful life. She's had it all ripped away, and she's able to keep singing and finding happiness despite that in the middle of fire and brimstone. And I love it when you have like a lady who is the kind of top and dom who will just take care of you aggressively. Yep. And she's a very hot dryad who will boss me around and then feed me an incredible meal. And I want her to leak sap all over my fingers. I mean, I want her to take care of me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Zad, who is your number 4?
My number 4 is Hermes. I think that you could... Hi, yes. My number 4 is Hermes. And it seems like it's mostly because I like a lot of the things that you guys dislike about him. No shade on y'all. I'm just pulling him up towards the middle a little bit. Keeping him out of the bottom, my boy here. I think you could text him and ask him if he could grab like a croissant and a coffee on the way over for a quickie. He'd be happy to do that. Sex would be frenetic and precise. The kind of good customer service that is professionalism from a place of genuine care. Which means a lot to me. And I think, like, maybe this is me. I would personally be satisfied before the coffee gets cold and he'd be off. I don't mind that. Again, like, I don't want to date Hermes. Or I would be like, yeah, Hermes is among my partners. I would never settle down with Hermes. I just like, sometimes it's like you gotta be to work at 8 and it's 7 o'clock and you're also horny.
It's true.
We got a guy for that.
That's fair. That's very fair.
We got a guy for that.
I got a guy for that, and it's Hermes.
That's amazing. Oh my God. He's like DoorDash, but for orgasms.
Yes.
Holy shit, he is, though.
All right, maybe. Nah. Well, I guess I can put up with that fucking
like he's
coffee
literally on
bean
delivery
energy.
company logos.
I mean,
well.
I don't need it every time. I don't need it all the time. Were you guys operating under the assumption of monogamy here? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. That
We're playing the
is
fields.
my fault. They are Greek.
Wow. Already so many feelings, and we haven't even talked about our top 3s. So moving on into our top 3. Bob, who is your number 3?
Aries. Fuck. He is a smooth talker, extremely into pain. Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes you truly want someone who's going to push you to the very edge of what you could take. I think he's going to do that. He's going to do that with just the most, like, pleased smile on his face, which I know some people hate. But I'm like, excellent. If I invite you to fuck me up, the very least I demand is that you relish every second of it. This is a gift. You need to be fucking basking in this shit. So I'm like, and he seems like he's going to do it. And he's going to do it with that like crisp voice of his. So I'm like, yeah, you're number 3, baby.
All right. Annie, who's your number 3?
My number 3 was Meg. Like, listen, usually I'm too overwhelmed by the girl who's too mean to me and I can't handle it, so I just kind of back off like a coward. But Meg is, I don't know. I mean, she'd be mean to me, but she'd also be mean to me in a really sultry voice with big buff arms. And maybe just this once I can be okay with that, because I'm pretty sure she'd like that I'd be completely tongue-tied and willing to do pretty much whatever she fucking wants. Like, I'll try it. I'm up for it. Broaden my horizons. Stretch me however you want, Meg. I'll do it.
Yeah. All right. Zad, who is your number 3?
All right. Number 3 is Artemis, and this is another big feels. It's intense feels. So when we were discussing putting the list together, I had considered positing that there are indications that Artemis is actually ace in the game, which is not a take I am going to reject as a rule. I think that there's valid evidence for that. But that said, Artemis being read as asexual in the absence of that being a specific choice that is, made clear for a unique instance of the character, puts her at a remove from the more important facet of her place in the culture as essentially a goddess of lesbians. Honestly, the rule should be that any uncertainty ought to favor Artemis being a lesbian, and deviation from that representation needs to be taken with a lot of care and intention, and I think by most people probably not at all. Artemis is a lesbian, this just is a thing that we need to accept. But it left me with a question of why I was ready to imagine her as asexual in the first place, and internalized patriarchy obviously features, but as I was examining my feelings, I found something that was more important and more interesting. There's an ineffable something about lesbians being in the world that draws me towards them. As I toil through a life drafted with the tropes and assumptions and presentation of masculinity, the existence of people who are not of the world of men, but have willingly appropriated some of the elements of it that they wanted, but are not burdened to engage with the rest of it, is like the moon reflecting the sun's light, but not its blinding and cancerous rays. So I look to the moon, and I find it beautiful. And as somebody who is non-binary and is bisexual, but with a preference towards non-men, I want to have some sort of marginal acceptance within that sphere. Lesbianism is not for me, and I am not of it, but I want to touch it. I want to be welcomed there, but I'm aware of how I look. I know what my voice sounds like. I like my voice a great deal. I hope you do too, listening at home.
It's a very good voice.
Thank you. As uncertain I am about what exactly it is that I am, I understand. I know fully that I am not a woman. So I will not reach for the moon because it would hurt too badly for me to reach out and to fall short. Then we have to consider the premise of the podcast. A central rule, a core tenet of this, which is that you want them and they want you. I haven't imagined what it would be like to have sex with this version of Artemis. She's cute. I love that dress she's wearing. It's really good. I just haven't thought about it. But when I accept the premise that I, being as I am desired by Artemis, the goddess of lesbians, that's enough for me. That's so much that it puts her at number 3. Number 3 on this fucking list.
Zad, that was so fucking powerful and so fucking beautiful. I am really blown away.
Yes.
Do you have more?
That is the list. That is it? Okay.
That is it
I was not sure. Those enormous feels?
I was not sure if there was going to be another movement to that symphony.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
Took us on a fucking journey.
Yeah, I will remember this, and I will think back on this for a while. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was so beautiful. That was
the biggest feels for me are always those kinds of bummers. I am sorry for taking up that much time.
Yeah.
No, sweetheart, that was wonderful.
That was great. No, that's what we're here for. We are trying to find what lies at the throbbing heart of horniness, and it is a different thing each time. And that is what is beautiful about this podcast.
So that's Artemis. That's my number 3.
All right. And I will just say, as a recent convert to the lesbian club, the door is open. There is no rules. Anytime you want to come in and hang out, you can come on in. So.
Aww.
All right. So I will do my best to follow that with my number 3, which is chaos. Look, I'm here for the novelty. There is a concept that I learned first from Magic the Gathering, but apparently it originally had its origins in baseball, which is value over replacement. The idea is that something has high value over replacement if nothing else does what this does. So in this case, it means this is a fuck you can't get anywhere else. You you give this one away, you let it go, and instead you let like a random average fuck come by. In what ways is it similar? Can it do the same things? Can it compare? And no. Nothing else, no other fuck is like fucking chaos. I don't know what it is, but it will be unlike anything else. And yeah, do I want to... I've fucked a lot of people in my life. I have fucked many people. That's fine. I have not fucked a chaos. This is why I'm realizing people like Audrey 2 and Trekkie Monster both did much better for me than I might expect. Because I want to see what that is. So yeah, chaos, value over replacement, number 3.
I am so happy and proud that, like, this is where you are now after this show has been out for, like, this period of time.
In what way? What does that mean?
Oh, just, like, I think everybody started the show, like, not totally sure, like, where they were with the novelty fucks, right. But, like, you are now carrying the banner of the novelty fuck, and I'm so proud. Oh. I am honored.
All right.
I would also like to posit a difference between those other examples you mentioned, because if you fucked chaos once, you have no clue what that's going to be. Imagine what it is the second time.
Right.
Because this is chaos.
Oh, because chaos, see, here's the thing. Chaos wants to learn about, like, the mortals and the gods. Chaos is like, after our last encounter, I've been ruminating on this, and I've discovered this. This time, I think I will try it this way. And you're like, oh my god! It's like
you're rolling the dice again. You're rolling the dice again, but with like stacking modifiers.
Yeah.
That's true.
Chaos.
It's never the same way twice. Ooh.
Chaos. All right, great. Moving on to number 2. Annie, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Thanatos. I kind of have a big feels for this. I didn't quite plan it, but I did write a lot about it. Sad bisexual hot boy with floppy hair. Sad bisexual hot boy with floppy hair. He's got floppy hair, and he's grumpy, and he's got a huge scythe, and he's competitive, and he's a sad bisexual hot boy with floppy hair. Like, look, here's the thing. Don Bluth has what Kelly Turnbull, who's also known as Sela Squid Online, once coined as Don Bluth's boyfriend, which is this one guy that Don Bluth draws in every single one of his movies and over again.
Oh my god!
Like every single movie, he draws this beautiful boy with floppy hair, and you know what, Don, you got me. I impressed on it after a while. This is a Dimitri. This is a Matt Damon and Titan A, whatever the fuck his name was, Cade. I don't know. This is the
Thumbelina dude,
this is
whoever
the Prince
that
Cornelius
was.
from Thumbelina.
Yeah.
It's Don Bluth's boyfriend, and it's Thanatos, and he's a grumpy Zuko. And I love a grumpy Zuko. I could change him, but what if instead I listened to Yellow Card with him while he wrote grumpy songs about his ex-boyfriend, and I had to say, no, sweetheart, no, we already listened to that Good Charlotte song. It's the one about how girls are mean and his dad abandoned him and his brother. Yes, I know that's half the discography. Oh, you're kind of stupid. Listen, let me just peg you, and then we can go get pizza. How's that sound?
Oh,
all right.
And he would love it.
He would. All right, Zad, who's your number 2? I'm even afraid to ask. I'm afraid to ask.
Oh no, my number 2 is Persephone.
Okay.
So if Nyx knows how to tease out the Hades who fucks, Persephone also does. But she can also get, like, one layer deeper, and she can find the Hades who gets fucked.
Yeah.
She is perceptive and caring, and she will find the thing that you need to release what is pent up, which is truly delicious. And I imagine that the first time that she was pegging Hades, and he came all over his sheets, and it took him 30 seconds to realize that he was not devastated by the mess that he had made, and then she cleaned up after it. That was when he knew that he was in love.
Aww.
Yes, good. Yes,
Accurate.
Good. This is a fanfic I like.
Accurate. This is canonical. Yeah. All right. My number 2. It's Megara.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look. I'm just saying look a lot in this episode. She's a lady.
Okay.
She's a monster. She has a whip. She's mean, but she's also a secret softie, and she's canonically a BDSM dom. You see when you have, like, the sex scenes with her and Zagreus, it fades to black, and you hear a lot of whipping noises, and you hear Zagreus say, wow. Like, I want to say wow.
It's wow whips.
Yeah. Also, I'm just going to read this quote. Just this quote from Megara. That's just going to sum it up. Halt, Zagreus. Not one step further. Your father sent me. All in all, I'd rather be on your bad side than his. Now, you can turn back, like a good little man, or I can send you home the painful way. I'm... Okay, that's all. Yeah. Yeah. Bob, who's your number 2?
Big feels. It's Achilles and Patroclus.
Okay.
Or Patrocles. There is something about, like, old love that has settled into its full depth. It, like, the sex is so good. It's not full of surprises. But what if you get to be the surprise ingredient? And I think they don't take their relationship lightly. So I'd imagine that this is both a threesome and a proposal to move in together, which is a lot. But for these two, I mean, okay, no, guys, people, friends, do you have a heart? The day that Patroclus looks at you and says, my Megan, but you know your name, my Claire,
My
whatever.
insert name here.
Yeah, my Zad. God damn. You're going to be like, well, it's DP all day, every day from here on out. This is my life now. I am a pincushion for these dicks.
Great.
But like with romance, though.
All right, we did it. Number 1, I'm afraid to ask. I know there's going to be so many of feelings for everybody. Let's start with Zadkiel. Who is your number 1?
Number 1 for me is Eurydice. Gods have great appetites because they are gods, and it is their want. Eurydice has a great appetite because she has looked around and discovered what she wants. She is aware of and content with herself in a way that nobody else is. Or at least, like, very few people. Maybe Achilles and Patroclus. But she is content with herself to the point that she can maintain the healthy boundaries required that it takes to have a happy, ongoing romantic relationship with Orpheus.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
She can tell you how to please her, and she can make it sexy, and she will feed you afterwards.
Yeah. All right.
Do you know what's hot? Communication skills. Get on the level. Hades.
Exactly.
Word.
Yeah,
Hades.
It's true.
All right. I'm going to go. I got my number 1. And this is some of my biggest feels I ever had on this particular show. Big and weird feels. That my number 1 is Zagreus.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah. I posted a thing on Twitter a while ago. I thought about posting it a few times before, but I felt weird about it, and I feel weird when I think about Zagreus, because the thing about Zagreus is every time I look at Zagreus, I get just a little bit straighter. Like, ordinarily, when we do this show, when it comes to, like, fucking a dude, I have to, like, think about it, and, like, okay, well, hypothetically, in this sort of situation, if I gender flip it, or if I put myself in this position, and I think, you know, mathematically, the math checks out. Yes, that would be a good fuck. I just kind of want to fuck Zagreus. Like, I kind of just, and like, that's very weird for me. Like, it's new, strange feelings, but like, there's so much with him. It's just like, you've seen the trailer with the animated thing with the running the fingers through the hair to get the blood out of the
Devastating.
hair. Like when he's covered, like, I mean, what? Also, he's such a sweet boy. And he has a different energy with everyone he interacts with. He knows how to, like, match someone, how to understand them, and, like, kind of what to give them. he calls Sisyphus sir, and it's so sweet every time that this person who within the cottage, he's the prince of hell, and this is this guy who is a prisoner who is just pushing this thing up, and every time he's like, hello sir, how are you today? And he's so sweet. He has 2 different colored eyes. He has so many feelings. He's got all this like anger and rage inside of him just beneath the surface. But if he got mad, he would never take it out on you. You would sense every once in a while like, oh, Zagreus is having a rough day. You know what I mean? Like, he's got that rage, but he's just so good, and he would never hurt anyone, and he's so approachable, and like, were I to fuck a dude, this would be the one that I would fuck, and maybe I just would fuck this one. Like, maybe I just would give it a try. And it's very strange for me. But you know what? Yeah, Zag. Also, he's a bottom, obviously. I can just very...
Yes. I mean... Thanatos is a switch. Meg is obviously the top.
Yeah, this is...
Yeah.
So say we all. MeganBob, who's your number 1?
Thanatos! This fucking intense nerd. This intense nerd. He is standoffish and cold, but like once you get under that, there is someone in there who is thrilled to give you everything you want. Like, do you want to be fucked half to death? 7:45 on a Tuesday morning for no good goddamn reason other than like you felt like it. Do you want to be crowded up against a wall because you're just like, I just can't keep my hands off you. I have too many strong nerd feelings. This is a nerd who's going to wreck your shit and like fucks you. Like he's still not done proving that you definitely made the right choice by bringing him home. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes. You know what? On day 3000 of this relationship, you should definitely, please do fuck me like you're trying to convince me. No, but for reals, I mean it this time. Like, yes, I know you do, sweetheart. Please, it's the trash day as well. Can you please remember? Yes. What a good boy he is.
All right. And finally, Annie, your number 1.
My number 1 is actually also Zagreus.
Oh, yeah.
He's like Zagreus. He is innovative, relentless. He refuses to settle for one method. He chooses instead to master every resource available to him. And he approaches all his relationships with just tremendous amounts of respect and compassion. And he's interested in becoming a better person and can acknowledge his own faults, like with Meg. But I mean, honestly, for me, what it really comes down to is, you know that part in the opening animation where he steps out of the blood and he runs his hands through his hair and his lips part before settling into a smirk? I want the physical embodiment of that specific bit of animation to rail me regularly.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I gotta watch this fucking thing, apparently.
Hey, Annie. I am also familiar with that particular bit of animation.
I know, right?
And it gave me... It made me less gay, and I'm so mad at it for that it made me less gay.
It's like just that one little bit, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing something where, like, the people that did that animation specifically were like, here are male models and some porn you need to reference.
Yeah.
We need to make this hot as hell for anyone who is into dudes.
Or even if you're not.
Or even if you're not, apparently. Everyone can appreciate this little fingers through the hair. Oh
my God.
All right.
Fucking supermodel. Just that. I just want, it doesn't even have to really be Zagreus at the end of the day. It just has to be that, but given form. I'll put on a sundress to get railed in for that one.
Oh man, that's a sacrifice.
All right. So we said a lot of things. We already unpacked a lot of it seems like, but in case there's anything that we didn't, I think it's time for some Let's Unpack That.
Okay, I have a Let's Unpack That. I'm just gonna fucking throw it out there right now. Based on the strength of Zadkiel's pitch for Hermes as, delivering a speedy orgasm, because, sometimes you just need one because you got somewhere to be, and, like, that's what he's good for. On the strength of that, where would Hermes move on your list now that we've thought of him not as a person you have to keep around?
I mean, I can jerk off, and I don't have to listen to Hermes when I do it.
Well, there is that.
I mean, I can knock it out in 5 or 10 minutes if I'm really determined. You know, we can. If I got somewhere to be, we can make it happen.
But I mean, don't you just want to like let somebody else do it, or no? I don't know. I'm back and forth.
I feel like I might move him up a couple of ticks.
Yeah.
Like not into the top 10, but like, you know, he'd probably I maybe might move him up above Orpheus, put him in a number like at a number 15 up from 18, honestly. Like I just the problem is that what I keep coming back to is that this whole list is full of hotties, and it's hard to move them about.
I think I gotta move him up past Artemis and up past Eurydice, because the Eurydice is like that value is only going to decrease for me, whereas Hermes holds steady.
That's fair. So,
but I guess, I mean, Athena, despite the fact that I do not want this fuck, will probably be a better fuck overall. So I think Hermes would have to be my number 14.
Yeah, it is such a compelling argument of him just being like your quickie buddy. I can't believe I didn't think about that angle.
Yeah, and to just go like, he just like flies in.
Yeah.
There, you don't have to, clean up the rest of the house for him to see it. You just leave a goddamn window open, you're done.
I suppose I would raise him one solitary place above Hades. But above that, I got Achilles and Patroclus. No, they're great. So I will say, for me on this list, there might not be a no looking at my list.
Oh,
boy,
wow.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it, and yeah, Hypno's down at 20 is a maybe. I feel like I would have to know that Demeter wanted it. I am not ready and willing to do the work to get her to want it, which is, again, antithetical to the premise of the show. But, like, if she was the one who was coming on to me and was expressing that it was a desire and something that she was interested in, she's even like, that's not a no. And then when you get up above that, Hypnos is annoying, and I don't know if I've got that in me, frankly, to get to the place where that is satisfying for me. Fuck what he gets out of it, but
yeah, I think for me, I don't necessarily know that I would enjoy sex with Hypnos. I'm just weirdly drawn to it like a moth to a flame. I'm like, all of the ones below him, it's like, I know what that sex would be like. And it's kind of like the novelty fuck. I'm like, he's just so, I hate him. And it's weird.
Yeah, he's kind
like,
of the ultimate brat, isn't he?
Yeah. And I'm just weirdly drawn to it in ways that I cannot fully articulate. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta like, I do want to fuck him up, but I cannot. I would be such a toxic top for him, because I'd just be like, shut the fuck up. Just get the fuck out of here.
just not worth the trouble, if we're honest.
No, I don't think he is.
So where, like, general question, I feel like Orpheus and Eurydice both came on, like, drastic ends of the scale for everybody.
Yeah.
If they were paired up, like, where do you think they'd end up sinking?
10.
Yeah, I have Eurydice at 7 and Orpheus at 10. I think together they would be more like 14 or 15. Like, they would both just, like...
Oh.
I think they're so much more interesting on their own. I think that Orpheus he's like a really interesting character. I think Eurydice is really interesting. But together, like, I kind of don't even get their relationship in this game. Like, I don't fully get why they're together. And I don't know.
I feel like I'd want Orpheus to be a guest star in the relationship.
Yeah, that would be acceptable, I suppose. But
Again,
with special guest Orpheus.
Yeah.
I mean, like, writes a banger song about how good you did at fucking Eurydice.
Yeah, that does sound really good. I like your version a lot.
Yeah. Which is not, I've got that underneath Eurydice's cooking, which is really more to underscore how good Eurydice's cooking is than it is to say that it'd be awkward to have him watching.
I am so surprised that maybe this is mostly for Claire, although a little bit for Annie. Is it just the fact that the list is so top heavy? Because Demeter, like, a tired mommy dom, but is a mommy and is very determined to punish.
Yeah.
I just don't go for mommies.
So
I'm not like a daddy person. I'm not really a mommy person. I like a mean girl who will pick me up, but I don't. But that Venn diagram doesn't overlap all that much into mommies.
Right.
Okay.
For me, it was just kind of practical considerations. Often when I do the first draft of my list, like the bottom 8 are like all dudes. And then I'm like, I look at who are my like some of my lower ranking women are, and I'm like, okay, I'll drop them down like 5 spaces from where they should be just to mix up the genders a little bit. You know what I mean?
I mean, you're not wrong in that male characters are often written
and I'm
significantly less.
And I'm a gay as well is a thing.
Well, that as well.
So, but yeah,
but the writers are not helping you.
Yeah, her and Athena were the two that I was least excited about. But like I said, when I was actually writing my description, I kind of fell into a weird thing where I kind of discovered something that I liked in her more, but I didn't reorganize the numbering afterwards. So maybe she would be a couple places higher. As I said, that kind of like, oh, I'm gonna take care of you. You don't worry about a thing, because I know she's like nice and good and just has had a hard life. And I'm like, I'll take care of you. So maybe I would knock her up a couple places, but. So, Zad, you have chaos at number 16. I just didn't realize you were such a coward is all, I guess.
Oh,
wow.
Coward. Well, am I scared? A little. A little trepidatious for what that could be. I think more so than what it is A, list very, very top heavy. B, maybe they should be above Athena, now that I'm looking at it. And 3, it just seems like too much work. It seems like I would need to be able to coach them into reliably doing sex well, but you make a very compelling case. Not scared, just lazy.
I feel like all the mouths, like one of them's going to do something right.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I don't have a no on this list aside from some like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where chaos fell. Sorry that that's where it got put, and that I am too busy doing my own work. So I know Bob, or this might have been a kid thing, but just to plug the Discord, I know at one point we'd been having a discussion of people who are generally attracted mostly or exclusively to femmes, and there is a short list of male characters that do seem to have crossover appeal. I know Hal was mentioned. Link has been mentioned.
I think I mentioned that as the short list of boys I might fuck included for me Zagreus, Howl, and Link.
Okay, Zag was on the list at the time?
I think so. But.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think, because there was one that I was missing. I know also for any Next Wrestling fans, there's also been some discussion of Finn Balor being a real person who does dip a toe into those waters. But that's just such an interesting, like...
Yeah.
Trying to, like, what is the overlap, do we think, among those...
I think that...
those dudes?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to clarify, because I'm not totally sure. Movie Howl, book Howl, both, not both. Which
movie Howl.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same vibe from all of them, but for me, it is just like this. I guess athletic, hairless, soft boy. I guess who is
It's kind of a non-gender with left man, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Ooh,
I think that that's fair. Zag is a bit more like full-on man than either of the two of them.
True.
Because Howl has some he-they vibes, and Link is trans both ways, as we know. Yep. Anyway, there is a thread there. I think it's maybe a similar vibe to like I've been very intrigued by the teen girl who is into David Bowie vibe of that like non-threatening, just barely masculinity, like pretty boy, thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's just because I know from these, I know from being experienced with these stories as well, that these characters are all also just like really good folks that I think would be chill and like treat me well. And
that's fair.
And I think that like, so in that way they're very non-threatening. It's like, oh, if I wanted to experiment with a boy, this would be the one, or whatever. So
before we leave this, because there is, of course, some fucking how we're going to do one on Greek mythology one of these days. Now, we can't put real Zeus on that list either for real good goddamn reasons, but the list is going to have some weirdos on it, and that some honorable mentions are going to be some of the biggies. But that aside, who from this list that we are looking at now do you feel like benefits the most from the writing of this video game? And like you think, oh man, in legit just Greek mythology, I would say, oh fuck no, get out of here. Or vice versa, that you're like, oh, they're way more interesting in mythology.
I think Hades gets an interesting read on this because in a lot of like regular ass mythology, Hades is kind of the sad emo guy who doesn't want to be at the party, but his brothers made him come. And he just kind of has to sit in the corner with a drink until he bribes somebody to let him leave. And like he's more just sort of like the quiet guy who loves his wife. And giving Hades in Hades, giving him so much more angry resentment and also communication issues where he doesn't know how to dad. I think I don't even know that it's like a better read or a worse read, but I think it's a completely different kind of energy that has to kind of be like, I know I'm the one saying this who was like, I can't divorce my Hades and Persephone feelings from the video game, but like they're very different beasts at the end of the day.
Yeah. In terms of like most dramatically transformed, and I don't know if it would improve or not, I think Ares is an interesting example where a lot of, I'm not super familiar with how he's talked about in the like original source texts, but in popular culture, he's often portrayed as being very like uncultured and very just like belligerent in these, in this kind of like very raw ways. A lot of depictions of Ares are more like kind of traditionally macho, and he is this weird thing of like being this like very dignified guy. The voice actor actually talked about it. He's like, killing or murder, like that's barbaric, that's low, but war is dignified. That is like he's like, that is like lofty, that is whatever, and there's that weird, but then it makes it even worse in a way because there's this like twisted kind of fucked up, you're like, oh, this guy's way dark because he thinks he's like a gentleman and he's a god of war. Like it's so fucked up. Like
he's the worst.
It really adds a whole interesting flavor to him.
That speaks to the gravitas that he would bring to Bob's read, like Bob's whole spiel on Ares.
Mm-hmm.
Like he inflicts pain with precision and grace. That's this version of Ares. This version of Ares is not about brutality. He will employ brutality. Brutality is a tool, but it's just like this is such a unique and cool version of that character.
Yeah. I think for me, most improved is probably Sisyphus, though. I mean, honestly, because it's such a fun take on the character.
Definitely.
Where, like, because if you look at the myths, and they actually talk about in the game about, like, oh, he was, like, this, like, really violent, ruthless king who did a lot of bad stuff, but, like, he's just the sweetest boy in this game because he was just sentenced to push this rock up for so long that he just got the shit kicked out of him over and over again until he became a decent person. Like...
I think you've hit on it. I think that's the major thing about the characterizations in Hades is that it posits the idea that these mythological characters can change over time.
Right.
Yep,
like
yep.
with Achilles and Patroclus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of like the last arc of the game is you're trying to like get the families to reunite and stuff. And so I think that's really interesting.
Well, I think that's maybe why Zeus and Poseidon are such a nothing for us, or
worse. That's true.
Because like the gods don't get to change, And those two
Yeah.
have so many stories that we know about them that they're just less interesting in this version. Meanwhile, you give some minor folks, like, Athena, another one who has a lot of stories where she's doing a lot of stuff, and she's just flat.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Yeah.
we get that arc of Artemis becoming comfortable even at a distance. One of the notes that I wrote down is, imagine at that dinner party, Zagreus introducing Artemis to his boyfriend and girlfriend, to Meg and to Thanatos.
Yeah.
And it's just the chillest thing of him just being like, hey, these are my partners. And she's like, cool, it's great to meet you. And you can imagine that they feel very human. The ones that we picked, a lot of the ones that we liked on this, feel human in a way that is not terribly mythological.
Yeah,
and I mean, even someone like Demeter, right? Where the fact that it even just presents this idea of her that is entirely the aspect of winter, that is entirely someone who is steeped in grief, and whereas she is more, which is a weird word to use here, almost a bit more mercurial in myth. Whereas in this one, it is not even just changing her, but just keeping her still for a while.
Yeah, but in terms of Orpheus, I will say we have the version here that we have. We have the mythological version, which is murdered because he wouldn't fuck some nymphs. And then we've got the Hades Town version, who is played by Reeve Carney, who played Dorian Gray in Penny Dreadful. Damn, what a hottie. I think other versions of Orpheus are probably hotter and less interesting than this version.
Yeah, when I saw this version of Orpheus, I was like, wow, that's a weird take. And when you hear him sing the first time, you're like, that's what Orpheus's voice sounds like? It's so high-pitched and so weird. Yeah. But then you kind of listen, you're like, oh wait, no, this fucking rules. And you hear about, in actual mythology, they talk about the fact that after he loses Eurydice, he wrote a song that was, so sad that it, made rocks and trees weep because of how beautiful it is. And that's, one of the songs that he plays in the game, the one with, the Don't Look Back as, the main hook. And, and it's you're like, yeah, that would make some trees weep, man. It's fucking great.
Yeah, those toiling in the pits of Tartarus.
Yeah.
Heard his song and took a rest to listen.
Yeah.
Hades, cold Hades. This is not this version of Hades, but cold, unfeeling, administrating the dead, mythological Hades wept a single tear at that song. And that's the reason that he got to make the walkout. And it's boy, what a different version, what a different world some of those stories are taking place in.
Yeah, it's great.
That's amazing. Well, I have things that are going to make us weep a single tear because I have the rankings.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get it.
Number 21, sleepy bitch disease, Hypnos.
Wow.
Good.
I
Number
tried my
20,
best.
Demeter. Number 19, Dionysus. Number 18 is a tie between Athena and Orpheus. Unfortunate. Unfortunate.
Don't
Not
think
really
they would get
a power
along.
couple.
Yeah.
No.
No. 16 is Hermes. Number 15 is Hades. Didn't do too badly for himself. Number 14 is Ares. Dragged him up. Number 13 is Achilles and Patroclus. I know we're saying it different every time. Number 12 is Aphrodite. Didn't even make it to the meeting. Number 11 is Sisyphus and Boldy. 10 is Dusa. Number 9 is Nyx. 8 is Chaos. 7 is Artemis. 6 is Theseus and Asterius, which I feel like speaks very well of Asterius. Might have been number 1 if that happened. If not for this albatross of a boyfriend that he has. Number 5 is Persephone. 4, Eurydice. 3, Thanatos. 2, Zagreus. And number 1 is Megara.
All right.
All right. I have no problems with that.
An objectively correct choice for number 1.
Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah.
She deserves it.
I'll never forgive you for dragging down Nyx that low, Bob.
I want it. I just think she'll kill me afterwards, which, you know what? I shouldn't be that afraid of. I guess I just wanted her to be mad when she killed me instead of just annoyed.
Yeah.
Again, that shouldn't be a deal breaker for me. I love annoying people, but, well, maybe I was just having an off day. Maybe Nyx would rank higher on a different day.
I mean, like, again, such a top-heavy list. I feel like you could shuffle a lot of these and people wouldn't be too disappointed with the list that came out.
I agree with everything that I said in terms of, like, my takes, but the order in a lot of these is just, like, bleh. I mean, there's good and bad. It's just kind of like...
Yeah, it would change on a day-to-day basis, just depending on the mood, because, again, it's almost all yeses.
Yeah, it's like, do I want chocolate ice cream? Or do I want vanilla ice cream? Or do I want, like, whatever, French fries? Or there's just all of the flavors, like all of these different things, and they're all great.
It's a Baskin Robbins 21 flavors, baby.
Now with French fries.
Now with French fries. Hey, French fries in like a Wendy's Frosty, don't knock it.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Along with your hero.
That's a real Theseus and Asterius combination. Anyway. So, ranking the universe of Hades on a scale of 1 to 10 boners. I'm gonna go first. I could do 9. I think it's a 10. Like, if there's ever a 10, I think it's this. The only reason I would knock it is there could maybe be a little bit more variety in some cases of, like, more monsters. There's some monsters, but there could be more, you know.
There could be more monsters.
There could be more monsters.
I still think that's not a reason to... There can be more than 110. More than one thing can be perfect in different ways. I think that this is perfect. And a series that is clearly designed with the horny gaze of the viewer in mind. Like, in a way that a lot of these things are sort of, like, incidentally horny. This, they knew what they were doing, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I will never say no to more monsters.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
Yes, it is horny in a way that deeply cares about the characters that it's portraying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like we could have pulled one or two of the writers onto this show and they would have been down for this. Which is, again, why I'm at a 10, I think, for this. I would like to, like, take some decimal places off for your Hypnos and your Theseus just existing. There's your second monster on the list, incidentally, is Theseus. But, like, whatever like marginal pulls get knocked off here, it rounds up. It rounds up to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be a 10. I mean, we're even looking at, especially in this specific list, we didn't even have to think about Zeus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, I mean, it's all wheat, no chaff.
Yeah. If we had Electo, it would be an 11, I think. Because she has teeth. But
oh, she got teeth.
Bob, you have not played this game. So
no, I have not. I know, but for me, because of that,
you are welcome to do what you
I
wish.
know. I'm welcome to be wrong. For me, it's a 7.
Wow,
it just doesn't.
Down to 7.
I know. It's just that, like, I'll just say they're all very sexy, but the sexiness for me is not. I don't know. It didn't feel developed in the ways that I needed it to be developed. Look, maybe if I had played it, but I don't know. The game is designed in such a way that I don't know if that would have been enough for me either. But I will have to. I should have read fanfic. That was my big mistake.
Maybe because, like, this is a game that is excellent for long exposure. A core part of my 2020 was for like a month waking up, making coffee, playing this game for 2 hours, and then maybe getting some writing done, maybe going off to do other things. So this was very much a comfort food for me in the midst of all that. And it's, you just, like, you sit with it, and you're doing a loop that's the same, but it's different every time.
It's so well designed for just granular storytelling, just bit by bit, seeing things gradually change.
You gain an appreciation from what is the sparse things that are doled out to you in these little pieces. You are still thinking about those people, and there's that, like, hey, Artemis has shown up. I wonder what Artemis is going to say this time. And that's, like, a part of the engagement that we have with it that you don't, and that doesn't mean that your ranking's wrong. It just means that
Yeah.
it's
I
infected
have
us.
thoughts about how I consume media then for the next thing we're going to talk about.
I will say, I did watch, one time I watched a streamer play the game for the first time because I was just kind of curious. And a couple hours in, he declared, "This game is cozy." And I was like, yes. And I don't know fully what that means, but I totally agree. Like,
It is.
you just play it, you just sink into it. And I think it was like the perfect game to come out during the lockdown,
Yes.
Yeah.
where
Absolutely.
every day is the same. And it's terrible, but you're learning to carry on, and all of your friends are there, and they're nice, and you get to know them and like help them work through their issues.
And you can
it's just
make
so
your
sweet.
house nice. You can interior decorate.
Even the victories, even the small moments where you do manage to get out and have something nice are liminal. It all
Yeah.
came crashing back down frequently. That was 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were always people there to pick you back up.
Yeah.
And then you went back out again.
And
Because-
you like not only did you learn something yourself from going out, but also you brought something back with you that was good. And you shared it with everyone else.
Yeah. Anyway,
You went
Hades
back
is great, and I got a lot of feelings about Hades. What did we
Yeah.
learn this week?
I learned that I need like long narrative exposure where it's like a long chunk of narrative. Sparse is really hard for me to kind of pick up a lot of the deep stuff that I need, but that also depends heavily on how exposed I am to the thing. So like I have deep feelings about Mass Effect, and that's like there's long narrative chunks of it. And that one's a lot easier for me. But I don't know. If I had just spent that much time, the amount of time that I've spent sitting in rooms while Mass Effect was happening around me, then maybe I would feel different.
I think it's I think it's a similar thing where you actually do get stories in like little bits, and you like get to know the characters slowly, like over hours and hours and hours of gameplay. Like I think it's weirdly similar. So
Maybe part of the difference is that you take the party members with you when you're going out, whereas in Hades, it's just Zagreus.
yeah.
Whoever you get back to and whoever you find along the way.
I think I also just don't like Zagreus as much as I like Femshep. But
Well, that's fair.
I don't know.
That's fair. She's Shepherd.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned that while there are, in general, I think I tend to sit closer to Zad along the range of like, I tend to not know what to do when someone's mean to me. I just kind of want someone to be nice to me. But, well, it turns out I have exceptions to that. I can't totally tell you exactly what the difference is, but you know what? I'm okay sort of falling to pieces in front of a big strong lady sometimes. And maybe it's just Meg. Maybe it's Meg. I don't know.
If you're gonna do it with.
If you're gonna go all the way with Meg. Arms.
Yeah. Thinking about my big Zagreus feels and thinking about Zad's big Artemis feels, and I also got big Artemis feels. I feel a lot of things. It feels very powerful. I don't know if I can fully put it into words, but I do feel really moved by what we've done today. And when I played Hades, and I think that Zad felt the same way, I felt something like kind of open within me a little bit. And when I do this podcast, I feel something open within me a little bit. I feel my sense of myself like expanding out and spreading into allowing myself to be a more complex sort of person than I had previously allowed myself to be. And I don't fully have words for exactly all of the ways in which this is true and exactly what all of this means. But I think I'm just sort of comfortable sitting in that space of not fully putting into words. And I think I need to get comfortable with experiencing something and allowing myself to experience it and feel it without needing to then systematize it and like incorporate it into some sort of model of myself. And I think that it's important to allow yourself to experience something and be surprised about yourself and not feel a need to analyze it all the time.
No, I know what you mean, but oh my god, I feel very honored that this show does anything of the kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Zad, you have anything you wish to add before we wrap up?
I learned that I very badly want to be a lesbian, which is also very funny. Not very funny.
Hey girl,
but
you
it is...
you holler at me.
Listen,
I can.
Hi, Claire. Hi.
I can teach you all the stuff.
I can't.
Anytime you want.
I don't know quite how to. The other joke that I have is me being like, boy, I really did learn I know how to bring the room down. But the thing that I did was
No.
because here's the thing, is brought it down into a place that is a different energy than what the show often operates on. And I think, Claire, we are feeling things that are similar in ways that I don't know if either of us can express. And I think that that's important. And I don't know that tonight's going to be the night that we learn how to express it. But we've learned that there is more. That there is a beauty to recognizing when a line was there and that line was not as real as you once believed that it was.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
That's scary. I'm glad that we got to do that in a space that is so horny.
That's because, yeah, when you get to the horniness, it's real vulnerable, and then all your other feelings come out too. That's what happens.
It is Hades as a cozy game. Hades, a game that is exceedingly violent. A game in which you plow through, I think I was creeping up into the hundreds of thousands of bodies that I had left on the floor on the way to my 100th attempt to beat my father to death again before going to visit my mom briefly to be with her for a spare few minutes before exploding into a puddle of blood. This is a cozy game. And it came to us in a time that provided structure to an endless toil, an endless torment of uncertainty that told you how many rooms you had been through. Every time that you failed came back and it told you to try again.
Aww.
Have we learned anything? I don't know that I've learned anything, but I've learned that there's more to learn.
Yeah. I think I have unlearned things.
Good.
And that's just as important sometimes. All right.
Gosh.
We did it. We did a podcast.
We did. We have both learned and unlearned things. This video game, Claire really wanted to do this episode, and I remember being encouraged, shall we say, repeatedly to do this episode.
Here's the thing. When Hard Choices as a podcast, like, the idea was pitched to me, I was like, Hades. Like, and I was like, even because I knew it's like, oh, we're doing Lord of the Rings. I'm like, cool. Can Hades be number 2? I want Hades to be episode 2. That was like what I said. And then Bob was like, oh, okay, maybe we'll see. And then a couple more episodes came out. I'm like, Bob, Hades, over and over. And like, I know you don't care. And honestly, I'm glad that we didn't do it until now, because I feel like if you look back at like the MCU episode that we did, like number 3, I'm such a baby. I hate myself. I'm so like, I needed to grow to the point where I was ready to do the Hades episode. I now feel like I am up to the task of handling the Hades episode. So I'm glad that we did it now, Bob.
I am glad too. You know what else I'm glad for? I am glad that all of you are the ones who did this with me. And I would like for you to plug stuff that you are doing, because you're doing cool stuff too. Yeah. Zad, what do you want to plug?
I co-developed and edited a game. It's called Adversary, and was primarily written by my good friend Ben Drury. It's on Kickstarter right now. The game is about creating a villain and then creating heroes, and then battling the villain while answering prompts that help flesh out the story that's gotten you to that point. It's a game about climactic conflicts and just starting at the end because, boy, 2-year campaigns are immensely satisfying, but who's got the time? I've been tweeting about it, not as frequently as I should have, but if assuming that Twitter has not burned itself completely to the ground, you can probably still find me at Zadkiel in green, Zadkiel in green on Twitter.
Thank you. All right, Claire, what do you have to plug?
This time I think I will plug Apocryphana. It is a horror comedy adventure game that I made with my girlfriend Valerie. In it, you play a kid who is sent away to a boarding school for misbehavior of some sort, and your trading card collection has been taken away from you. You need to carefully and slowly rebuild it. As you start to collect these cards, you begin to learn that if you get enough together, you might be able to end the world, and you might summon demons that can destroy everything. Whoa. And the question is, do you want to? I mean, maybe. This place kind of sucks. So, yeah. It's a game about a lot of stuff. It's about transness. It's about religion. And I'm very proud of it. And the people who have played it have given it very good reviews. You can get it on itch. It's for pay what you want. If you get on itch and search for APOCRYPHAUNA, you will find it. Or you can find it on my Twitter or on my girlfriend Valerie's Twitter. She is at Valerie Dusk. Check her out. She makes really good games.
Yeah. And Annie, plug your shit.
Okay, you can find me on Twitter at the moment at AnnieZard. That's ANNIEZARD, like Charizard.
Yay.
However Twitter is going, I'm sure I will also link to any associated social media stuff there as well. But you can find everything that I am doing at crookedrussiancam.horse or crookedrussiancam.gay. We do Gem Jammer, an actual play Spelljammer podcast that is just chock-a-block full of queer friends, and gay space, and space gays, and monster boyfriends, and gay space dads, and some Gem and the Hologram shit. It is my pride and joy, and I love telling stories with my friends. There is also I Will Fight You, which is comes out about every 5 weeks, and we pick a different piece of usually garbage media that we talk about, or just some topic that we're really, really invested in. We kind of trade topics around. We've done episodes on Jupiter Ascending. We've done episodes on poetry from my friend Mac, who was a poetry major in college, so she just wants to talk all about like the stuff that she loved and complain about James Joyce. And we recently did an episode that's just sort of a rundown of all of the books from the Heralds of Valdemar series. We also did another one recently where we had my friend Jody Troutman on to talk about the Oz books. It is just beautiful pop culture bullshit we love. And then there's also Date Me Dammit, which is a video series on YouTube where we all play date sims together, which is also a lot of fun because Mackenzie finds a lot of garbage.
There's not enough people in the world complaining about James Joyce. Thank you for doing that work. It's important.
Honestly, I was really happy when Mackenzie did an episode entirely devoted to how much she hated James Joyce because then she could get it out of her system for a while, and I didn't have to hear about it anytime someone mentions James Joyce or the dead, which comes up more often than you would think in my social circles.
Oh man, I'll have to shut up because I got warmer feelings about that. But I mean, I have the literature background that I have, so. Thank you so much for coming on this run as we try to escape and go visit Persephone's garden and say, hey, we brought you all of these fucking boners. I know it's not traditionally what you bring whenever you're visiting somebody, but this isn't a traditional podcast, you may have noticed. So thank you for coming with us. Thank you for hearing all about how much we want to bang our way through this particular version of Greek mythology. You'll have to wait probably some time before we delve into the real one. And I hope that you come back next month to see who we're banging then. Bye!
Bob, this is the real one as far as I'm concerned. I just want to
This has been Hard Choices. If you want to show your support and get even more goofs from behind the scenes, visit patreon.com/hard choices and become a patron. You'll get exclusive voting rights and participation in every weird new thing we do. If you like the show, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review on the podcatcher of your choice. It shows people what's fun about the show and makes it easier for others to find it too. Hard Choices is produced by MeganBob. Our theme song is Funk Me by Soundroll. This piece and all music used in this production is licensed through Uppbeat. You can find details in our show notes and listen to more great tunes at uppbeat.io, spelled UPPBEAT.io. The Hard Choices logo is designed by Mulkerin. If you'd like to get into touch with us, look for the Smash Fiction Fan Faction on Facebook and join the conversation. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out with us. You're a peach!